My name is Ben Castanon. It's good to see you folks. I'm from Unitary Foundation. My background is been in really sort of building community across science, technology, and the arts. And Unitary Foundation is a nonprofit in quantum tech. Our mission is to create a quantum technology ecosystem that benefits the most people. We see that as the best way to do that is by supporting the open source community and providing public goods for the field as it continues to grow and in response to the needs of the user community. So we do that in three main ways. From a microgrant program that was started back in 2018 upon the organization's founding. That's a program that supports explorers in quantum tech looking to build tools in the field, and it's a global program. We've given grants across 31 countries to date. We also build foundational public goods. Like I mentioned, those are we'll get into a little bit more details about those later in the presentation. But what we see them as are really sort of things that we can all use that are better suited as open source tools or to be housed within a nonprofit as opposed to from a startup or somewhere else like that. And we also have a community around the world that we support of open source quantum developers. Right now we have about a little over 5,000 quantum developers on our Discord. That Discord is home to over 70 open source tools of various aims and sizes, and really is a place to house their community so that they can communicate to the greater world. So why do we do our microgrant program? There are two big reasons. One, and this is a recent paper from our friends at Open Quantum Design out of Canada, right? There's a big need in quantum tech specifically, a really great opportunity for the use of open source tools and open source initiatives really to affect change right now in the development of the field itself. And also the value, right? So this was another recent paper out of HBS showing both the amount of value generated from investment in open source software, as well as the cost reduction to companies. So the world writ large sort of knows the value of open source software, right? We're trying to capture that for our field. So what does that look like through the microgrant program? What it is right now is for the cost of around 3 PhD students or so, we've given out 130 grants. Each one of those represents an open source tool of one sort or another around the world. That is now our sort of alumni base of grantee teams is over 400 maintainers and contributors around the world who've been supported, 20,000 commits on those GitHub repos. 3 new startups have spun out from that program, as well as 1 new nonprofit. And what you see, this sort of long list here, are just a few of the topics these tools are working in and addressing. And so the impact that you see on the field for the amount that it takes to give out these microgrants is quite large. It's also, for folks who are interested, these are rapid response and open applications. So anyone can apply at any time, and you will receive a response from our advisory committee within 30 days. The grants each are $4,000 each, and they are no strings attached. And so we've generated a lot of really great community and ideas based off of the results of this program. So they don't only impact the field, they impact the recipients as well. So over 85% of the folks who've gone through our program have found that their careers have advanced and they have generated additional support for their projects because of the microgrant program. Historically, also to date, the microgrants have gone basically 50% have gone to individuals belonging to folks in historically underrepresented groups in STEM, which is great to see, just sort of the really large spread of interest and applicants from around the world. If you go to our site, unitary.foundation, you'll see these are 4 examples here, but the full list is available to peruse on our site as well. So microgrants is the first way that we approach our mission. The second way is through our labs program, the development of these public goods. And so I'm just going to sort of highlight a couple of them right now, based off the previous conversation led by Dr. Suter, right? And the one to start off this session as well. Standards benchmarking is an important piece of what we do in our field right now. It's going to help our industry grow. It's going to help us find end users. And it's going to help us communicate our achievements to each other. And so we came up with an open source solution, that's Metric, which you can find at metric.info. And it really is taking the sort of some of the ideas and tenets, right, that resources available to other fields, bringing them to ours so that researchers, power users, and users can really sort of benefit from an open benchmarking platform to really sort of demystify, understand, and communicate. And so what does that look like now? So to date, we have Metric has over 1,600 benchmark results across 750 submissions. We have resource estimation, this resource estimation plot, which I encourage everybody to check out. And if you have new papers to submit, please share them. This gets updated all the time with what we have and what we need. Metric Gym is the sort of software, open source software counterpart to Metric. The idea there is not only do we have a platform for you to see or share your benchmarks, but we also have software to let you run them, reproduce them, and share them that way as well. Another approach in terms of what would be an open source solution to a problem that we have right now that we think should specifically be open source is error resilient compilation. If we want our hardware and all of the different computers that we are building to be more useful and more accessible sooner, compilation is open source compilation is the way to do it. Our two tools that we run are MITIC and UCC. MITIC is an error mitigating compiler. UCC is our unitary compiler collection, taking inspiration from GCC and its place in the classical computer development world. Some of the results here so far, at this point, we're actually much closer to 300,000 downloads for these two tools, over 100 contributors from around the world as well, supported on all major platforms. And you can see some of just the results generated from an open source tool, right? Reducing an error rate from 64 to 2% on a recent performance benchmark. The community is the third thing that we do. Like I was mentioning at the beginning, we have over 5,000 developers on our Discord. So if folks are interested, you should definitely join. There are weekly software talks. There's a quantum job board, and it's home to projects from around the world as well. We run digital hackathons. This year we had over 1,000 hackers join us from over 70 countries to solve bounty-based open issues across all of the major open source tools in our field. We have workshops as well, and then wanted to especially highlight below our Unitary Hack logo is some of the results from the Quantum Open Source Software Survey. This is a survey that is live right now, and there's going to be a QR code to scan it at the end here. This is a survey that is a bottom-up view of our field from the developers and users and researchers from around the world saying who they are, what they're working on, what they need, what we should build better, and what they think is coming next. And it's a really great resource for both academia and industry to help sort of roadmap and understand what needs to come next. And then for the nonprofit as well, one of the things that we're able to take away from that, right, is what is that next public good that we need to be building that folks are asking for that we think is best suited to be an open source tool. So looking forward, a few new initiatives, and here's the QR code, so everyone should scan it if you can. Take the survey, it takes just about 10 minutes. Three sort of new things I wanted to shout out, and if folks here are interested, would be very happy to chat after. A couple weeks ago, we just rolled out continuous contributor support for two of our programs. Two of our tools now have the ability for contributors to be rewarded on a monthly basis for their contributions to an open source tool. This is something we would love to scale to new open source tools around the world, and we think it's a really exciting next step in terms of support for the open source ecosystem. We're also developing a new hackathon called Unitary Design, which is focused on bringing in UX, ML, designers, artists into the ecosystem, rewarding them as they would be as other developer contributors to our space. That will be premiering in February next year, so please keep an eye out for that. And then we see the next sort of iteration of the microgrant program that I was talking about earlier being an open source fellowship program to really sort of allow folks what was essentially a postdoc role, spending 12 months or 18 months on an open source project for the betterment of the wider community. We see this as also location specific so that we can be a part of local ecosystems and building tools that those local ecosystems need. And we're going to be hoping to roll that out early next year as well. Just wanted to do a quick thank you, because I think I'm close to time, to our greater community of collaborators and supporters. So our advisory board and open benchmark committee both help with all of the things that we just reviewed so far. Folks come from both academia and industry around the world, as well as our research collaborators that we've worked with over the years, as well as our supporters. These are folks who help the nonprofit organization continue to exist and grow. So thank you very much for your continued support. Our team as well, who are all around the world. We're a small team, but we have really great spread, and our board of directors as well. Under their leadership, we've been able to grow by leaps and bounds. So ways to get involved, please check out metric.info for benchmarking information, MITIC and UCC on compilation. Our Discord URL is there too. I encourage everybody to join and take the QoS survey if you can. Thanks so much.
Okay.